Hey guys, and welcome to another vlog. Got something very exciting for you today. I'm actually headed out right now to get fresh wine grapes and wine juice to start a series of vlogs on home winemaking. So I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've learned quite a bit and I'd like to share all of that with you. So this will be a first in a series. So be sure and click like and subscribe and let's see how it turns out. See ya. Alright guys, so like I had said, we are off to get this year's fresh wine grapes and juice, and I am going to do this vlog series on home winemaking. So like I had said, I have been doing this for over 20 years, almost 25, and I've learned quite a bit. What to do, what not to do, if there's a mistake, how to fix it, and pretty much everything in between. So what I'm thinking is this series will end up being between, I don't know, 4 to 10 videos over the course of an entire year. So you're going to see the winemaking process over the course of the year and hopefully learn a lot. So I hope you click that subscribe button, click the like button, and let's see how this journey goes. Guys, so we have a whole truckload of grapes and juice and we are headed back home to start the process. So I figured on the way home we might as well talk about a few little simple things. The first thing is, where do I get wine juice and where do I get wine grapes? So this is not the normal stuff that you're going to go to the grocery store and buy. It is available only certain times of the year. So California and Italy are available in the fall, and Chile and South Africa are available in the spring. The best thing to do is to go to Google and type wine supply shops or wine juice and wine grapes near me, and you will likely find a supplier that can help you out. And it's a small window. It could only be week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that you can get these grapes during those time frames. So you want to act fast. The second question that I always get is, can I actually make decent wine at home? And the answer to that is a resounding yes. So you can make wine that is easily on par, if not better, than anything that you can buy in the store for a fraction of the price. I know we have that crazy neighbor who thinks they know how to make wine and it's pretty much god-awful, but using the proper techniques and practices, you can make wine that is just amazing. My whites, typically I work on for between 6 and 9 months, and they're easily on par with $15 to $30 bottles of white wine. And my reds I work on usually between 9 and 15 months, and they are easily on par with bottles of wine that are $20, $25 all the way up to $100 a bottle. Yes, it is true, you can make wine that is that good at home, and it'll cost you a fraction of the price. So I'll see you in just a few and we will get started. Alright guys, so we got everything back in the house. So what we are going to be working on for the next year is about 20 gallons of Syrah. And then we are going to be working on 6 gallons of Chardonnay as well as 6 gallons of Pinotage. Now the Syrah, we have 3 6-gallon pails and we have 18 pounds of grapes. So what we are going to do with those are, we're basically going to use a combination of grapes and juice to give a really full-bodied, complete wine. Now, why I like using these pails is, as I said before, as these are made and they're picked and harvested and blended and everything like that, they balance out the sugars, they balance out the acids, so everything's sort of taken care of for you at a base level, and then you can tweak it and make it your own after the fact. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using these 6-gallon pails and we're going to be infusing them with 5 pounds each of pure Syrah grapes, and we're going to use a little bit of the stems to get the tannin structure out, and we're going to be using the grapes and the skins as well to build up the flavor the backbone of the wine as well as the color. Now the good thing also about these pails is they're food grade. So what I like to do is ferment right in the pails. Saves a lot of time, saves a lot of effort, and it does exactly the same thing. So let's get started. The next thing up we are going to do is test the specific gravity of that Syrah to see what our ending alcohol content will be. So, all right guys, so as you can see we got a couple of these open, and what we're going to do is test the specific gravity to determine the alcohol content of the finished wine. To do this you're going to need a hydrometer. You can get this at any online wine or beer making shop, or you can get it at your local one. All it is a little container, and it has a very fragile thin piece of glass in it. And this will weight down into the must, which is what the juice is called, and it will tell you what the ending residual gravity will be, which tells you what the ending alcohol content will be. So let's do that right now. All right, so what we're going to do is you're going to use a clean cup to pull off a sample to place it in the testing beaker. Now what you want to do is fill this until it floats. No more, no less. It must float. You see how that's floating in there? And now if you look at it, it's going to tell us exactly what the residual sugar is and the ending alcohol content. Okay guys, so we have pulled off our sample and we have filled the testing beaker up. Now we're going to very gently add this in and see what our ending alcohol content will be. And it looks like right around 13% alcohol once this is finished. Now what you want to do or not do is you never want to add this after you test the gravity back into the must. You never want to do that because it can contaminate the product. So whatever you draw off in here and whatever you're done testing, you get rid of. You can drink it or you can just throw it away. Never put it back into the fermenter or the storage vessel. All right guys, so as you see here, I have a larger fermenter. I think this is about a 12 to 15 gallon plastic fermenter. I know I said you can ferment in these buckets because yes, they are food grade, and especially for white wines that you don't have to blend or add grapes to, you can use those buckets. But since we are going to be doing about 18 pounds of Syrah grapes as well as Syrah juice, we're going to use one of these fermentation buckets. Now with anything that touches your wine, you always want to use proper sanitation. Make sure your hands are clean. Make sure everything has been cleaned thoroughly. A few things that I like to use are Seabright, as well as potassium metabosulfite. Make sure that everything is always very, very clean and rinsed before you use it. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to put the Syrah grapes in the fermentation bin, give those a nice crush, and then we're going to top them off with a little bit of the juice from all three buckets. Now what that's going to do is it's going to allow the juice to soak on those grapes, ferment, and then when we blend and move them into a bigger vessel at a later time, all of those rich flavors will be in there with them. Okay, so there's two things that we're going to do now. If you were just doing a white wine or you weren't adding a lot of grapes to a bucket, you can just ferment in the bucket, and all you would do is give it a nice little stir, let it warm up to room temperature, pitch your yeast, and then seal your lid back on. Because we are going to be doing a larger batch of Syrah and using this larger fermentation bucket, what we're going to do is add the grapes to here, give them a nice crush, and then we're going to add some juice on top, and then let it come up to room temperature, and then add our yeast. Now, as far as adding the grapes, what I like to do is use a combination of the grape as well as the stem. So most of it will be grapes peeled off the stem, and then I throw in a few stems just for good luck. I find that it adds a little bit of an earthiness and a little bit more of a heavy tannin structure. So let's get to doing that. All right, guys, so as you're doing this, you're going to want to look over the clusters of grapes. If you see underripe grapes, or if you see smashed or rotted grapes, or grapes that are a little too small, you want to get rid of those. And then you just want to use your hand and peel those grapes right off. Now, as I said, I don't like to put a lot of stems in there, but now and then, if I want an extra little bit of tannin to the wine, I'll take one of the stems I've already cleaned off. I'll crack it up just a little bit to release some of those tannins, and then I just drop it in. I'll usually add 3-4 stems. So again, you peel all the grapes off, crunch up those stems, and toss it right in. You really only need about 2, 3, 4 little stems for an entire batch. Alright guys, so we have peeled all of these grapes off the stems, added them to the fermentation bin, and this is what we have. Alright guys, so the next thing that we're going to need to do is crush this down a little bit. So what I tend to do is I'll use my fist, just like this, and I will just start crushing. The fist gives it a nice flat surface, and you're not trying to like completely decimate these things. You just want to break them open slightly. Give them a nice good crush. Using a small quantity like this, you don't really need a crusher destemmer. You can just use your fist, or if you got kids, you can have them jump in. It's kind of fun. So we're going to give it a nice crush for just a couple minutes. As you can see some of those stems in there. That's about all we used, was about that much. So we'll go around and crunch this up a little bit. Just a little note on the pinotage. I added a few whole clusters of Syrah grapes to that pinotage. I find adding the whole clusters uncrushed gives it more of a berry fruitiness to it. So that's just a little update on what I did to the pinotage. Other than that, it's pure juice. And back to the Syrah. Alright, and there we are, all crushed up. So now we are going to add Syrah juice to this and get started. So guys, these are about 5 or 6 gallon buckets, so I'm just going to take about a gallon of each of the Syrahs and put it into the bucket. It just frees a little headroom off of it. Okay guys, so this is the initial stage that we've done. If you have any questions or you need clarification on anything, just put a little comment down below and I'll be sure to answer that. So at this stage, what we want to do, since most of this has been refrigerated, is to reseal all of this and let it warm up to room temperature. Then, it probably takes a couple hours. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 packet of yeast per 5 to 6 gallon container. Okay, 1 packet of yeast per 5 to 6 gallon. Now we're talking about wine yeast. It's not the stuff you get from the grocery store, okay? So you can get it at your wine shop or where you bought your juice from. Alright guys, so we are done the initial stage here. So while most of these grapes and juice were refrigerated, they're kind of very, very cold. So we're going to need to bring those up to room temperature. It's going to take a few hours. So you don't want to pitch the yeast until it's warmed up to room temperature. So seal the lids nice and tight so nothing gets into there. Once you figure they're about room temperature, then you can pitch 1 packet of yeast per 5 to 6 gallon container, okay? And that's wine yeast, 1 packet per 5 to 6 gallons. The initial fermentation is going to take 7 to 10 days, sometimes 12, but we're going to follow up with that in a separate video. During that time, you're going to need to punch down the cap on wines that have had grapes added to them. As that fermentation takes place, the grapes will rise, and you want to press those back down into the juice to keep mold from starting and that sort of thing. But we'll go over that in the next video. So we're done for today. So I will see you soon. Make sure you click like, make sure you subscribe. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and check out all the other videos. We've got some really cool stuff out there, and I will see you soon.